Good morning, follow members. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of those that are about to retire for the evening. My name is Tanya Munford Pitts, and I am with Expat Tax Solutions, LLC. This is our second webinar, or our second go live session. And we are going to discuss the Foreign Bank Account Reporting Act today. So we're going to give a couple seconds, not long, one or two, just for people to jump online and connect with us so that you can get a little understanding about how the Foreign Bank Account Reporting Act works. Our company has been in business for going on 15 years now. And we specialize in accounting services, bookkeeping services, business consulting, and taxes, predominantly taxes for expatriates and anything related to taxes with regards to expatriates living abroad and those returning. We also specialize in real estate taxes and self-employment business taxes for business owners. My name is Tanya Munford Pitts again. I've been preparing taxes for well over 20 years now. I have my enrolled agent's license, so if you run into any snags or you have some issues with your taxes, we're able to assist you while you're abroad, provide us with the power of attorney, and we can go ahead and assist you with your tax matters. Right now, I'm going to introduce some of the ladies that are in our office. Well, two other individuals that are in our office. They've both been with us for quite some time. There's Miss Alpha Racine Lundy and Miss Janelle Barlow. And I'm going to allow them to say a couple of words. That way, if you ever connect with our office, you can now put a face with a name. So first, I'm going to introduce Miss Alpha Racine Lundy.
Hello, BALA members. Again, I'm Alpha Racine Lundy, and I've been working for Miss Pitts about 5 years, and I am a tax preparer. And we're here to help you while you're working abroad. And sometimes when a lot of our clients, when they come back to the States to stay, they continue to use our service. So we're here to help you, and we hope that we'll hear from some of you soon. Now I'm going to turn it over to Janelle Barlow, who's the client relations manager. Bye. Have a great one.
Hello, how's everybody doing today? I am Janelle Barlow. As Miss Lundy told you, I am the Clients Relations Manager, and I'm normally one of the first people that you'll come into contact with, and I help you get your process started. So whatever issues you may be having, I'll get the ball rolling, whether we need to get a power of attorney or get your portal set up. I'm the person that will normally do that. I have been with the company for about 2 years now, and I love what I do. I love meeting all of you, and I look forward to speaking with and working with you all in the future. Thank you so much, and back to Ms. Pitts.
All right, great, wonderful BALA members. So today, now that you've had an opportunity to meet the young ladies in our office, we're going to discuss the Foreign Bank Account Reporting Act. This is definitely an important matter as it relates to taxes, especially for those working abroad. I think what has happened is, over the years, the Department of Treasury, because this is where this ruling is coming down from, the Department of Treasury has decided, due to several incidents that have occurred over the years, they have decided that there's a need for individuals to report any bank accounts that they may hold in a foreign country. So a few years back, we had a really big incident in the news regarding a whistleblower, an individual that I guess they decided enough was enough, and they got tired of holding on to all of this information. So they decided to blow the whistle on a couple of the banks that were operating under the Swiss bank account arena. Once they did that, that individual did that, it opened up the doors for the Department of Treasury and the Internal Revenue Service to realize that people do have accounts overseas, which I think we all know that that wasn't the first time they knew that. It just so happened that it was finally aired. But at any rate, they stated that they were just finding out that people held these accounts overseas. And I don't think the problem was that they were holding the accounts overseas. The problem was that they weren't either declaring the accounts, or the amount of income that was in the accounts were either far more than what was reported on their income tax returns, or the fact that they didn't declare any income, and nothing may have showed up on their income tax returns. So whatever the issue was behind it, or the reason behind it, in 2011 the Department of Treasury decided that, okay, well, now we need to focus a little bit more on individuals that are living and or working abroad and or hold bank accounts in foreign countries. And not only do we need to look into this a little bit more further, we need to get other countries in line with, kind of helping the U.S. Get more information about these bank accounts. So once, that process was in place, and beginning in 2011, now it is very important that you all know that everyone, no matter who you are and no matter where you're located outside of the U.S., you have a responsibility to pay attention to this particular ruling, or this particular law that's in place regarding foreign bank accounts. Okay, so in this instance, I guess what's important for you all to know is that the Foreign Bank Account Reporting Act is specific in that it states that if you hold a foreign bank account, more likely than not, with most all of the countries, you're going to have to complete some type of documentation, which is a Form W-9, which requests your personal information, your personal details, probably your social security number, the account associated with you in that foreign country, and this bank will hold this information in the event they are ever audited by the U.S. government. So the U.S. government basically states that these countries, if they're going to do business with one another, that they are required to report this information to the U.S. authorities, or basically the Department of Treasury. So the requirement for the bank is, it doesn't matter how much is on in these accounts. They're just required to report the fact that this account exists. So now that the bank has done their job, now the burden shifts to the individual taxpayer, and this individual taxpayer is required to report their account information as well. Now, it's not a requirement for everyone. The ruling states that if you have a foreign bank account and it holds at least $10,000 on any day throughout the tax year, then you're required to report this account. You're required to report it to the Department of Treasury. A couple of years ago, you would be able to report this information to the Internal Revenue Service, and in turn, they would report it to the Department of Treasury. Then a year or two after they got that process in place, then we had to not only report it to the Internal Revenue Service, but it was required to report it to the Department of Treasury separately from the Internal Revenue Service. And I think going forward, they're working out some details to where you can actually report this information directly to the IRS, and in turn they will report it to the Department of Treasury. But right now there's two separate requirements for reporting, two separate reporting requirements. The other thing that's important for you to remember is not only are you required to report this account if you have over $10,000 in it, but if you have more than one account, and if at any point any one of those accounts exceed $10,000, then you're required to report all of your accounts. That way they can make sure that you have actually indicated or stated accurately which account was over a certain amount and on which date. Now you're probably wondering why this requirement is there. And we kind of talked about it a little bit, and I guess I like to explain it a little bit more to us that, I say they're not looking for us per se. And us meaning those that, unless you have $1 million in your account, if you do, good for you, great. But those that don't carry so much in these accounts, a lot of individuals go overseas and they're forced to open this bank account primarily because their employer will only pay them in the currency of that country. So most often the income that's going into those accounts are coming from your employer directly. And unless, again, you're making a significant amount of money, which if you are, great. But if you're not, then the amounts going into the accounts may not at one time exceed $10,000, but at some point during the tax year, depending on, if you're receiving a bonus at one point, a housing allowance, or, once you initially arrive at your station of duty, then it's quite possible and highly likely that you will have one deposit that goes in that exceeds $10,000. So if you do, here is what my take on it is and what I think the IRS is doing. So here you have this bank account in this foreign country, and then where you're employed, and your salary or earnings are running about, I don't know, maybe we'll use $100,000 a year as a nice round figure. However, at some point, if you have to declare this bank account, or even if you don't declare it, but at some point you may have, after a year or two, you could have $300,000 in your account. Okay? You and I, we can both add 100,000 plus 100,000 over the course of 2 years is 200,000. But you actually have $300,000 in this account. So the Department of Treasury is trying to understand, along with the Internal Revenue Service, how you're able to hold $300,000 in an account where you've only reported $100,000 per year on your tax return. They're just not reconciling. They're not adding up. So the purpose of the Foreign Bank Account Reporting Act is to do just that. It reconciles your foreign bank account balance at some point during the tax year with your earnings that you've reported to the IRS on your tax return. If you're holding $300,000, surely they're going to, match those two documents together and question how you're able to hold this amount. If you can answer to it, perhaps your account is an interest-bearing account and you can answer to that. No problem. But if you can't, that's where the problem comes in. Okay? So the Foreign Bank Account Reporting Act just to kind of recap and give you an idea of what you should be doing. It is for the Department of Treasury. You are responsible to report this information annually. Prior to the calendar year 2017, prior to calendar year 2017, the document that was the reporting document, you were required to report that by April 15th or when your tax was due in April. This, starting with calendar year 2017, it's due April 15th or whatever the due date is of the tax return. This year was April 18th. But they give you an automatic 6-month extension to file this return. And it is a physical return. You do have to report it to the Department of Treasury. And that requirement is in place so it's due no later than October 16th of this year. If with the automatic 6-month extension. You don't have to apply for the extension. It is automatically set forward, and that's going forward with this calendar year 2017. So, you don't have to file an additional extension form for it if you didn't file it on time. It's automatically handled for you. But no later than October 15th, and this year's October 16th because the 15th falls on a Sunday, I believe. And the document or the submission is required to be presented to the Department of Treasury, and you can go on their website and get that information, or you can utilize our services and we can assist you. If your bank account accrues amounts over $10,000 at any point during the tax year or the calendar year, you are required to report that and any other associated accounts. If you are a signature authority on that account, you're required to report that account. So say for instance you and your spouse both have bank accounts. Your account is separate from hers, but you both have signature authority on one another's account. If your account exceeds $10,000, well, now you're required to report both yours and your spouse's, and that should take care of the reporting requirement for both. So that individual wouldn't have to report one because they're both already being declared. If you want to do both, you could, but it shouldn't be necessary, again, because you're already reporting both. And if you have a trust, say for instance you're married to a foreigner and their family, or that your spouse, who is the foreigner, has a trust account. Well, if they bring you in, include you in the trust, or if your parents are foreigners and they have a trust and you're on the trust account, or you're the beneficiary of a trust, you're required to report that as well. So, as we travel more and we intermingle more, our families are changing a lot more, becoming more diverse. This information is becoming increasingly more important. Additionally, if you are not just a U.S. citizen, okay, but if you hold a U.S. passport or if you hold an ITIN, then yes, you too are required to report any foreign bank accounts. If you are a citizen of say for instance, a citizen of a country in the Middle East, yet you hold a U.S. passport, well, you fall under the same guidance as others do that are U.S. citizens. If your wife or your husband is a foreign national and they hold an ITIN and they have a bank account in a foreign country, well, now if their account exceeds $10,000, they're required to report their foreign bank account. So the requirements are really strict and broad, to be quite honest. It is not just for U.S. citizens. It's for any individual, U.S. citizen, or foreign national that has an ITIN or a U.S. passport, then you are required to report your foreign bank account. So I think that's pretty clear. I think we've given out as much information as we can regarding it. Are there any questions out there? We're available for questions. So let us know, and we'll hold tight for a minute or two to see if we can answer as many questions as we can. And of course, once we wrap up, if there are other questions, you're more than happy to send us messages through this particular post, and we'll make sure that we follow up and answer those questions. You can also email us at taxes@expattaxsolutions.com. You can reach us via telephone at 478-755-9659. That's our U.S. number. And you can also reach us on WhatsApp using our Kuwait number, which is country code 011-965-9782-9866. We're on WhatsApp. Any questions? Okay, so if there are no questions about the FBAR, just a quick reminder that for expatriates, the tax filing deadline is June 15th. It's fastly approaching. We're about a month out now, so 4 weeks. We are busy pulling returns together because we know everyone wants to file on time. If you haven't been in your foreign country longer than 330 days by the time it's time to file on June 15th, then quite naturally you need to file an extension. Do not wait. Contact our office. We can assist you with the extension. We can get that out for you. We can electronically file it. You can also prepare it yourself. You're more than welcome to, but contact us for any assistance, any questions. We're always available, and we're here to assist you. And BALA members receive a 10% discount on their tax filings because you're a member of BALA. So we want to thank Sunny Days, Miss Katrina, for allowing us to participate in your group forum, for allowing us to provide you with as much tax information as we can. We like to inform the public of what's going on in the tax realm, and we also like to make sure that everyone files their returns on time. Next month we'll be back on June 6th with another Facebook Live post in the BALA group, and we're either going to discuss those that have to deal with real estate or those that own businesses. And if you are reviewing this Facebook Live post maybe later, maybe you can give us, let us know what you would like for us to discuss with you. We'll be glad to discuss some topics that are important and pertinent to the group members in BALA. So let us know if you would like for us to discuss real estate taxes, or if you would like to for us to discuss taxes related to businesses. We'll be glad to discuss one or the other, and then whichever one we discuss this month or next month, then the following month we'll discuss the opposite topic. Okay? Well, you all have a wonderful day and a great night, evening, morning, wherever you are. And we always look forward to working with you. And again, we thank Miss Katrina Sunny Days, for allowing us the opportunity to participate in this forum. We thank you so much, and you all have a great evening. Bye-bye.